Good evening, Jace.
Good evening, Sean.
How's it going tonight?
Oh, not too bad. Finally back.
Oh, that's nice. I'm just dropping something over that I just quickly seen was already a mistake. Nice. There we go.
Sweet.
just open up with, amateur hour here. So I apparently have only dropped in 162, but it's actually 163 for us tonight. So just ignore the 162 in the corner. I just minus an episode number there. So, a few things that we want to talk about after we do all the intro. First, Jace, how are you? How are you doing since we've taken 2 weeks off here? Well, a week, I guess.
I am, doing great. Haven't done much Legion. Did one game for our Yavin League, but that's about it.
Right. We'll get into that for sure. If you guys didn't know, for the month of May and June, although I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the title as well as sort of the detriment to it, is just really super busy in May and June for me in school with graduation and finishing up things like that. So Jace is still trying to finish grade 5, so he's also busy. So but yeah, so we're just going to do this podcast every second week. So you only have to bear with us, for a few skipped episodes, and we'll get back into it in the summer months, because of course then I have infinitely more free time. But we will continue to have Friday night fights as long as we have some players. So. Which I think is also something to talk about, because that seems to be becoming more and more easy, which is great. So
Yeah, love it.
So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So the title for tonight, just to explain that a little bit, is Koticha to Yub Nub, which translates into celebrate the freedom, according to Wikipedia. Anyway, so celebrating the freedom of having a few extra evenings off. However, it's at that cost of I actually really miss when I don't do the podcast, like when I skip a week. So so I like the routine. Basically, my life is a one standard routine. So when I get out of sequence, I don't love it. So here we are back, and I feel good about it. So another thing too is we are really interested in making sure that we get as many people on the live portion as possible. So because of that, obviously we need to stay consistent. So I'm talking about consistency and telling you that we're going to skip a few episodes here and there through the month of May and June. But I would really encourage you guys as much as possible to be on the live show. We want to make sure that the live numbers stay as high as possible. So if you can do us a favor, if you want to be on the show, try to join us live so that you can interact and get those comments in. Subsequently, we are giving away a box of ARC Troopers tonight. No reason, just because we want to. And we've been Jason and I have been playing a lot of clones lately, and so I thought we would just theme that with what's been going on. We also have some more giveaways, obviously, upcoming. So stay tuned for that, and don't just come for the giveaways, although that is a great bonus. We will have some of the card sleeves coming up in maybe the next episode, because they should be due to us before too long. Not before the patrons get them, but you guys can just be here watching. Justice says he can use more arcs. Fair enough. Just so that you guys are here. We love those extra incentive, those bonuses, and we're going to talk a little bit about other things that will potentially be coming down the pipe for some giveaways. But stay for the content as well, as we're talking Legion, probably why you're here in the first place. Additionally, tonight we'll be talking about Friday night fights. Jace is going to talk about his recent game with yet another new Dustin. So we now have 2 Jaces and 2 Dustins. We're doing really well. We're trying to really desperately find another Anthony, which will be really great, because we could have all kinds of fun, messed
And
up.
a Sean.
Well, we have like several Seans in the chat. And so really one here is enough. And then 3 in the chat is more than enough. Sean Death looking directly at you. Another Sean in there as well. Spells his name incorrectly with a U, but that's fine. He's also hanging out. Sean Power, there he is right there. So right on cue, which is great. So we'll talk a little bit about Friday night fights. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about the league. I have to get more league games in. My league group is just all over the place trying to get coordinated. OS Dad and I have played like 3 games now, although only one of them counts in the league. But we keep getting practices as we're spinning our wheels waiting for other people. J-Rod shouting out at you, who's ducked both OS Dad and myself. Just saying aloud. So so go check out the league, and then we're in another league in the form of Yavin based team league, and Jason and I will talk a little bit about that. So all kinds of Legion to talk about tonight. Maybe I should have made this episode 163 and 164, as we have a ton of Legion to catch up on, and that's what happens when you skip a week. All right, Jace. So I don't know where you want to go first, but maybe we'll just talk a little bit about our last week in the hobby/gaming world. If you want to go first, go ahead.
Yeah, you bet. So last week in the hobby gaming world, of course, I played my Yavin-based game. I played my Friday Night Fight game, both of which we can get into in a bit. And then, in not Legion related, but just still gaming related, I was in Calgary over the weekend for a tournament.
Okay, and how did that go?
Tournament went well. Ended up taking first, so that was
nice.
That was good. Yep, happy with that. I would show the cool trophy they gave, but it's upstairs. It's a F-16 stealth fighter flying over a little Russian missile truck on it.
Okay, nice. Very, very nice. And that was Team Yankee, correct?
Yes.
Team Yankee. Cool. Cool models. A lot of models. There's a lot of models of Team Yankee.
And it was high points too, so it was a lot of models. That's my only thing with that game. I like that game at lower points levels when you have less models. Gotcha.
Well, congratulations on that as well. And I was actually supposed to go the other way this weekend to Manitoba. I was going to go over and play in a tournament hosted by Tim, but a couple things prevented me from going. One, I had an extra amount of schoolwork to get done. Two, my wife and I, with the long weekend, tried to do a little bit of yard work before the weather got too bad, so it was like kind of temperate, which is my kind of weather. And then secondly, I was going to go over and back, but in the same day, but a little worried about driving the basically 13 hours solo. So
you
just
didn't
in case,
have me this time for that.
Yeah, I didn't have Jace this time. So, and then another thing too, Jace, is what I didn't realize is they weren't starting till 11 and weren't finishing till around 8, according to Tim. And so the timings were going to be really off for me. Not being able to leave till 8 at night would have been quite a drive through the evening. So decided to opt out of that one. I think they only had, when I looked at registration, I think they only had like 5 players registered, 4 players maybe. Hopefully the numbers were up, and hopefully that was wrong. But nonetheless, Tim said he was going to go ahead with it, and so great for them. And I will make the next one for sure. In fact, I'm actually looking at one down Michael's way in mid to late June. Should have live streamed the drive. That would have been probably a little boring after about an hour. But nonetheless, stay tuned for the second hour of the podcast. So I'm thinking about going down Michael's way and potentially jumping into a tournament down there. So maybe I think June 17th, if I saw correctly. So I like to sprinkle around as much as possible. There's also another one in Calgary. So Calgary. So shout outs to them for their tournament upcoming. It's actually on the graduation weekend. So literally graduation day. I think it's occurring. So I definitely can't make that one, but Les, our buddy from Saskatoon, will be making the trek over. So that is good for him. So shout outs to all those tournaments. And kind of one of the topics we're going to talk about in the roundtable is basically it's tournament season. So we want to know kind of what you're teching and what you're testing. Because that is fast approaching, and I've been playing, saying to Jace, my week in Legion was basically playing Yavin-based team league game, which I'm playing CIS. I played some practice games against a few different people, running clones, and I have a league in my league list. I'm playing Empire, so I am faction split right now all over the place. No rebels, although facing rebels. I actually faced the rebels. And no CI or SC for me at all. So I've kind of haven't seen a lot of Shadow Collective lately. So, and I think the latest nerfs not nerfs, but bans in Yavin base really kind of hurt SC this round as well. So, we'll see what kind of powers creep out of that. So, always a great thing with bans is they kind of create a little bit of a different look at some different factions and lists, which is great. So. Okay, Jace, if people aren't following us right now, but they're going to because they want to make sure that we get the numbers up and they stay tuned for all the giveaways, where can they find us at?
Yeah, so you want to check out our other stuff? Check us out on Facebook at Star Wars Legion Friday Night Fights, Twitter and Instagram at at Legion underscore FNF, and check out our Patreon if you are looking for cool Friday Night Fight swag to represent yourself in this upcoming tournament season.
Yeah, so a little bit about that Patreon swag. So if you were in for April, May, you have already, and if you haven't, you've already indicated kind of which fan-made card sleeves you're looking for. So you go on there and type in the faction-specific one that you are interested in, and lo and behold, as a Patreon, that ends its way into the mailbox and hopefully onto your tabletop, which will be cool. We'll also be giving away stuff. Everything that we do for Patreon perk, we generally just do as a giveaway too, so you don't have to support monetarily. You can just support as a viewer. So we do love to give away lots of stuff. And additionally, I want to talk a little bit about Patreon now in the form that if you have any suggestions for things you want to see on the studio. Somebody asked me a great question the other day. It was actually Travis, and he said, he's like, what is your favorite biome to kind of work in? Interesting question. And really it's greens and grasses. And so not Legion related, but definitely the Shire project is scratching that itch, although it's a beast right now because it's just foam. But definitely working in the green biome with lush grasses, etc. Is my favorite one. I've done a lot of winter in the last couple years. And sort of moved away from doing, and Flames of War days, Jace, as you would know, all lush, all green, all the time. And so that's really where I kind of, cut my teeth making that sort of environment. Haven't really got to revisit that a lot with Star Wars, but that is definitely my favorite. But if you have other suggestions for other things you want to see, maybe hobby tutorials, etc., definitely jump on there. You can jump on and post on the Patreon without being a patron, so you can go check it all out as well. You can use our Discord, etc. Love those suggestions. Patrons, of course, get to make direct suggestions, so if you want to jump on, you guys can do that as well. So just wanted to share that with the masses here. Before we get too far down, we're going to do lots of talking about AMG releases here. We're going to be talking about the asset. We don't have it, obviously, but we'll be talking about the asset. We'll be talking about some of the other Twitter drops as well, getting into talking about the Ewoks. And then we're going to do a bit of a revisit to Cody. And Jason and I specifically are going to talk about what we have been doing with him on the tabletop. But before we do that, let's talk about Friday Night Fights. Friday Night Fights every Friday. You can join Jason, myself, usually Anthony, and lately it's been some Dustins in the studio as we are playing a live, not a TTS game or anything like that, a live on the tabletop Legion game. And so there's a whole bunch of episodes. In fact, last episode was Jace and Dustin, and Solominen, I think is how he says his last name. If I said it incorrectly, I will apologize. But Dustin, first time in the studio, and episode 87. So we have 87 games that you can go watch. Try to avoid the first couple because they don't look near as nice as the last ones, but certainly there's 50, 60 episodes that are really, really good. The early ones are fine. Everyone starts somewhere, and we have honest roots. So go back and check them out if you like to. I shouldn't tell you not to. So, but Jace and Dustin got into it with some SC on some clone action, which was super, super good. Before we talk about the game, I want to give a shout out to all our folks that help us out, our patrons and our donators as well. Bernard coming through. That's not a typo. Bernard with another donation last week. So always Mr. Consistent and Jace's number one fan, Bernard. And Bernard has helped us along with all these other folks as we've pushed towards adding our own Bird Dog PTZ camera here in studio. $2,040, 68% of the way there. We are slow crawling, and we appreciate it all. It helps us out, folks, immensely. And when we get that, you guys will bear the fruits of all the donations, and we'll just increase the capacity and the quality of Friday Night Fights. But if you didn't see it, this is what the episode kind of looked like. Jace will, spoiler alert, if you were going to go watch the episode, you'll probably hear about it right now. It was an amazingly fun game. Back-to-back weeks on this table donated by Legion Terrain on the Deep Cut Studios mat. Super, super fun. This tabletop is great. I actually really like this set a lot. Don't forget, we do have a code for these items. It is, I'll have to grab it for you. I don't think I have it queued up on this scene here, but it is a discount that gets you 5% off with Legion terrain. I promise I'll grab it before the end of the show. I forget the order that it's in, but I will get it for you. If you want to grab this set, this is one of the nicest ones that they have, and I really like it on there. In fact, I'm going to ask them if they can actually send us a couple more of the destroyed turrets. They're really, really cool. I'd just like to have a few more to add some scatter on there, as we have 2, and I like to balance it out. They're nice sized for that. So, all right, Jace, let's talk a little bit about the game. Dustin, being a new player, I think he said this is game 5. He did not play like it was game 5 at all.
4 or 5, something like that.
So tell us about the game.
Yeah, so as you can see on there was clearly two buses. So he was playing double buses with a bunch of Black Sun and some Pikes, and I was playing my same favorite clone Commander Cody list with some RTs, and the whole list just being built around some fire supporting. Game started off really interesting when I was able to crack a bus turn 1, which was very helpful. And as soon as that happened, Black Sun got out, the other bus moved on up, Black Sun got out, and things started to die on both sides very fast. So not to spoil too much for it, but we were playing, I believe it was Vaporators.
Yeah, you guys played Vaps, yeah, because there was some very interesting late game business in and around some Vaps.
Yep, we were playing Vaps, and unlike most Vap games, I don't think the first Vap was hit till turn 3.
That is true. It was a very weird Vap game, one of the weirdest ones I've seen, but made it interesting as well. By the way, Dustin joining us in chat right now, indicating he's just bought 3 more SC boxes. Can now field 5 of the same unit once they're assembled and painted, which is really gross. Because I don't know if he's talking about Pikes or Black Suns. Either way,
that would be
gross.
Both.
Yeah, gross in a good way. And Dustin indicating that he played 2 intro games in 2020 and 2 others versus the other Dustin, and now 1 against Jace. So glad you stuck with it, Dustin, and welcome anytime in the studio again. So, all right, continue, Jace.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, the game became very killy. He came, and because he was able to get those buses in so fast, he actually hit one of my Vaps twice, so I really had to climb out of that hole. And I think in the very end, it came down to I was able to squeak out on 20-something points on a victory point tie.
Yeah, very, very tight. So, and then we did our post redux. I think there was a couple things Dustin could have done differently. Game 5, imagine that you still have room to learn. I'm playing well over 450, 500 games at this point, and I still definitely can be learning a lot more. So I have played a lot of Legion, and I still make mistakes or still go back and kind of rethink and should have done this differently, and that's the best part of Legion. Is learning from that. So I would imagine that, and Dustin's way ahead of where I was at game 4. Probably Jace can agree. I just remember us playing core set, and we played a ton of games of the core set, but
we did.
There's a lot to learn, and I think part of it, and there's a little bit of a barrier. Guys are new and kind of scary playing on stream for the first time. Think lots of people are watching you, and you don't want to make mistakes, but as Sean's pointing out right now in chat, he learns something new every game. We do too, and I think going back to rewatch games, I wish I would have been able to record more of the games I played, because I probably could learn even more had I the ability to watch them back. So, all exciting. I think you guys will enjoy it. Go check it out. There's a bunch of episodes there, and there's more upcoming. So, and you guys can tune in live as well, because this is, again, we do it live on Friday. So if you guys want to ask questions or cheer on your favorite player, and part of that's actually going to be tied to the giveaways we're going to do. We're going to be doing themed giveaways. So we're going to actually have people come in and back their fighter, so to speak, and we'll have a themed giveaway. And if you are backing the right guy who comes out on top, we're going to enter those folks into a pool to win some prizes associated with the faction that you are backing. So no Jace specific merchandise, but whatever faction Jace is repping that particular week, you might be able to jump into that pool. So Jake also indicating he likes watching his games back as well. So, and there's that code for you guys,
Definitely.
Legion Terrain, FNF May 5, the percent sign. That'll get you 5% off for the month of May. I guess that's almost done, but that will still work for you. And not to be outdone, but we also have an FNF Deep Cut 10 to get you 10% off of Deep Cut Studios. In fact, I had somebody message me this morning. He's actually the person that prompted me to ask him about the code. And I think he ordered like 4 mats. So he was very, very happy and excited to get them. And I'm glad he was able to save 10% courtesy of Deep Cut there. So go check it out, folks. All right, Jace, just previewing just briefly, the league round 5 is commencing right now, season 2, round 5. So we got some weeks left in that. I don't have any league games to report on. I think I talked about my first league game. I need to get some more in. I got a couple folks, person from the UK for sure, and a few folks on the West Coast and down south. So I do need to schedule some games with them. But I know other people have played a ton of games, and that is ongoing. So season 2, round 5, almost to the end of season 2. Welcome, OS Dad. And once that's concluded, we'll do our little playoff round and we'll take a short break and re-rack for season 3. So stay tuned. I talked about that already, and now we're going to jump into the news, Jace, if you are ready. Look at that. We powered through the whole intro in like 26 minutes, and that was a hefty one.
Spicy.
So, yeah, it was spicy. News from the streets, brought to you by, and a little note here, confirmed to be, well, not from Pally. In fact, we actually don't know where Pally is, so we are missing one Pally. So if anyone knows the whereabouts of Pally, we have not seen him in some time, and we are Anakin Dice Rolls. Not talking about Anakin Dice Rolls. OS Dad referring to the game that I shot Anakin 69 dice, and he managed to go to 11 suppression and live amazingly. So that sometimes happens. So yeah, still alive as of yesterday. Justice, thank you. Good, thank you. We'll call off the search party at this moment. So. All right, Jace, a ton of AMG news. We're going to get into a bunch of things. They have been active in the Twitterverse. I have dissected out all of the Star Wars Legion content, but if you're a Shatterpoint player, you have been treated to a lot of things. So a lot of Shatterpoint on the AMG Twitter, which is perfectly fine. Not covered here, but if you were playing Shatterpoint, I am a little jealous. I did see a Mace Windu, and I hope that we have a Mace Windu announcement at some point for Legion. We will. I'm hard confirming in my own mind. in my own mind. I have frustrating Shatterpoint news. Says Canadian Bear. Oh, do tell. Yeah, Mace Windu confirmed in my brain for release in Legion. But what they did say is a big thanks to all the folks who had submitted feedback based on their Star Wars Legion Special Operations beta. So that is ongoing. I haven't been really following too much about this. I'm not sure if you have, Jace, either. Hey, Cam, how's it going? For those folks that are doing that, obviously this is a slice they're looking for, and I have heard people say that it is interesting, and it's just another mode for them. So. Which is great. I mean, if there's multiple things that have you drawn to Star Wars Legion, that is great, and it doesn't have to be competitive play. There's lots of ways to get in and stay in Legion. So, but if you're into that Spec Ops, that is for you. And it looks like they have updated some things on there. So to participate in the open beta in 2 rounds of playtesting. We'll take feedback during the month of February. That's what that was initially posted, and they'll reopen the beta in April for the second round of feedback. So, and then this was shared out May 17th on my birthday. That a big thanks to the Star Wars Legion players who submitted the feedback for the first round of beta testing. We're back with revisions and ready for more feedback for rules and instructions on the submission. Head here, and basically this is on the Star Wars Legion transmission page. You can go find the associated link for that. All right, on the transmission page, but courtesy of Twitter, which is where I get most of the news, and then I head over, is another organized play kit, Jace. This is referred to as The Asset. Great title. By the way, small story. I was telling Jace beforehand that I registered for Gen Con over the weekend. In fact, I was so prepared. Thank you, Donnie. I appreciate that late birthday. No problem. Appreciate it nonetheless. I was so prepared and all ready for my Gen Con adventure of registering and doing the whole thing. But I was not paying attention to the time zone difference because I had a little brain cramp that Saskatchewan doesn't move, and I was all thinking I was all prepared. So anyways, I jumped into the queue 34 minutes after it opened, only to be finding myself somewhere around 12,600th in line. I didn't bother to register anything except for day 1 and day 2 of Star Wars Legion Open World Qualifier. And don't despair before you send me to the gallows for registering for both. I did that and hit the button, and about 2 hours later, I made my way through the queue and managed to get both spaces. However, I then, I think I have 2 microphones on here. I then jumped back into my cart and removed immediately the Thursday ticket so that it would go right back in the queue. And so hopefully some lucky individual got that. So I did not occupy and hold 2 spaces, even though that you could. But I was lucky to get that. Not only that, though, Jace, I was able to then go back in and I registered for the wild ride scenario and the asset. And so I will be playing this probably for the first time because I'm not sure exactly when it drops. Potentially, maybe I'll play it at Gen Con for the first time. If not, we will, of course, acquire as probably 2 sets because the local store usually is pretty good about that. And then, as always, we'll break it out and we will do giveaways for it. So if you are unable to get one or don't have one in your local area, if we are able to ascertain multiple, we will, of course, break one down. And we usually break one down and give the locals, all the people who do Friday Night Fights, as a bonus for them. And then we'll break another one apart and gift it out to the viewers. So stay tuned for that. But looking forward to that. The contents, we aren't going to get too specific into it, but again, another organized play scenario. They love multiple cards, AMG here. Their scenarios are never lack for complication and not always like overly complicated. I'm not saying that is a bad thing, but there's always a lot to digest. Specifically, if you want to pay attention to here, the army configuration is very interesting. So the Defender's army cannot exceed 600 points and has the following restrictions, and they call this restrictions: 0 to 6 commanders and operatives. I feel that I don't love this based on the fact that I am not a big commander/operative player because there's not near enough generics for me in this category. But don't despair. You can also have 0 to 2 special forces, and you cannot exceed 6 units. So very, very character heavy. So I don't know if that's good or if that's bad. Obviously, I haven't played the scenario. The attacker, on the other hand, gets 0 to 1 0 to 1 commander, no operatives, 4 to 7 core, 0 to 2 special supports, and 0 to 1 heavies. So it seems like you're very much like a strike force versus like a wall. And so you got numbers on one side and elitism on the other, which for a lot of people probably will be a lot of fun. So there is that. This is played on a 3x3, if I'm not mistaken. And you can see on card 2 there, somewhat revealed the play surface there. And so I believe that is a 3x3 as the center is indicated there. Could be wrong on that. Could stand to be corrected. Additionally, in there, you get this very cool Din Djarin card. So people always loving that. The alt arts and the new format there is very cool. Nice and clean. Got a nice big photo there. So you get Din. And then it talks a little bit about this. The objective here, Jace says, in the scenario, the defender is attempting to survive and retain control of the asset until the end of the game. When the extraction arrives and allows them to escape. The attacker is attempting to recapture the asset and defeat all the defender's forces before they flee. And then it gets into, again, that army building situation here. The defenders have access to a larger command hand than normal. After choosing their command hand cards, normally the defender then chooses up to 5 additional command card eligible for use and sets them aside. Various game effects will give the defender access to them throughout the game. The defender's command hand may go over the normal allowed 7 cards due to these special rules. So that is really, really cool. So, here's the thing. You got tough choices on the other side with 0 to 6 commander/operatives. You already have like really tough choices to make with your command hand there. although probably really cool choices and really neat interactions. And the Defender, on the other hand, kind of vanilla, but you have a ton of options, which is really, really cool. So in addition, there is some condition cards. I believe these are conditions here. Ammo stash, heavy repeating blaster, medkit, and portable shield generator. And there's text for each of those. I won't go into to reading those, but yeah, so really adding a lot of flavor to these kits. So are you eating a Blizzard? Dustin wants to know. So yeah.
Yes.
When we get into what are you testing, Jace went a little bit overboard and is testing Blizzard, not Force, just Blizzard, the dessert. So we'll talk a little bit about Jace's flavor of choice a little later on. If Jace isn't eating, he's hobbying and leaves me to do all the hard work and button clicking. So so there's the kit. I like these kits. We've had some really fun time. I'm not really into narrative play, as we've talked about before. I have found some enjoyment in getting over my this is not standard Legion, this is not competitive Legion, and kind of just getting immersed in there. I will say that the Dianoga was probably the most fun one, because it was so chaotic and so much going on. So hopefully this one's got some flavor to add. I will say that if it is on a 3x3, which I believe it is, that has my interest right there, because I do like the small tabletop interactions with skirmish. I am a skirmish fan, and so hopefully if it is a narrative, it has a kind of a speedy play, and I do like that. So yeah, looking forward to that. Jace, thoughts on this?
Oh yeah, definitely looked really cool. We'll see how it compares to the Dianoga one, but
yeah,
it's going to be excuse me, going to be interesting with the large amount of characters versus just the large amount of general troops.
Yeah, at 0 to 6, like you can't go too gung ho. Like, maybe 4-ish seems to be a number that you might land on. 400 to 150 point characters, if you're not going to add any special forces, or you could just kind of go like, 2 beasts at like nearly 200 points, and then a few maybe generics or smaller support characters. So yeah, I think there's a lot of options there, and it'll be really interesting to see what people come up with. But I think people who like heroes in this game will inevitably just like this asset pack, because you'll just be able to play your heroes that you normally maybe wouldn't be able to play in other games. So yeah, looking forward to that. Now I say that, a ton of Rebel players right now just seem to be playing a lot of the heroes. So
yeah. Pretty much how their faction works.
Yeah, well, Justice kind of, me alluding to it, but yeah, Rebels will like this. Yeah, Rebels do like all the heroes. So on the topic of Rebels and heroes, just wanting you guys to know, if you haven't already, Ahsoka is out in the wilds. I will show you my little goodie bag. I just picked up some stuff, or is sent to me, but what do I have here? I got my Cody.
Nice.
Yes, because I needed the command cards instead of playing them via the phone. I got my Dark Troopers. I mean, they're sealed right now, but I will enter into the realm of assembling them. I just got 2 of these to start, as that is probably where I'll land, but eventually I'll just pick up another one. I did pick up Asajj, so I'll assemble Asajj, and I also picked up, because I hadn't grabbed Moff, so there's Moff as well. And then, not to be forgotten, we did you guys a box of ARC Troopers. So stay tuned for Roundtable. Basically, how you're going to enter tonight is you are going to contribute in Roundtable. So if one person contributes, and that is all, you are the winner. If there's multiple people, then we'll just basically get Jace to randomize a number, and we will send you a box of ARC Troopers. Okay, so Ahsoka's out. Ahsoka's in the wild. Ahsoka, I've seen some amazing paint jobs, by the way, in the last couple of days for Ahsoka. So people were just like nailing this paint job. So Donnie's Ahsoka is in the mail. Yeah, like this paint job on screen is amazing. One of the better ones that I have seen, and people have been pulling off this exact look, and it is fantastic. Nailing the skin color. I'm not sure what people are using for skin, but they have got it on point. So Jake is saying Ahsoka is amazing. I got her painted. Jake's been running a lot of Ahsoka. Speaking of paint stream, there was a drop on, again, my birthday, May 17th, full of Twitter drops by AMG. They were actually painting up the feisty little guy And I believe they were referring to Wicket at the time. So we're going to talk a little bit more about Wicket tonight and Ewoks in general. But if you want to go check out that paint stream and you want to get the the tips, you can go check that out on the Atomic Mass Games Twitch page. So Jake's saying he's on game 11 right now with Ahsoka. Well, good for you, Jake. Good job.
There you go.
All right, Jace also dropped May 18th was the small, fierce, and friendly Wicket. He joins the fray in today's transmissions. Interestingly, I'm not sure if you've picked this up when this was dropped, but that background there, as I posted on my own personal page, I know a guy who knows a guy who may have possibly built that background. Harken back to the old days, 2019 FFG days. I believe that terrain used in that photo came out of the room over there. Definitely looks familiar. So good job for whoever made that stuff, because it looks the part. But great. I did a double take on that. I was like, hey, that actually really looks like something that we've done here, because I noticed first. I'll tell you how. The plant that's located to the right of him, the most lime green plant, I was like, hey, that is a plant that I really liked using. I was like, I wonder where they got that. And then I actually moved my eyes to the rest of the photo and realized, because I did not know they were photographing on that. But that's cool. Glad to see them repurposing and using that terrain for, other than just sort of sitting in the crates until it gets, unpacked. So that is, great to see. And Wicket looks good, and he looked good in that environment. So Sean asking, has anyone tried Ahsoka and the Sabine list? Jake, in fact, has tried Ahsoka and Sabine. And in fact, I played against Ahsoka and Sabine in my Invader League game. Yavin Base Team League game. And it wasn't too hard hitting. Like I actually didn't manage to kill either one. I left Ahsoka on a wound, and I left Sabine on 2. But that was partially not really bad dice in the game, but bad final roll. But Ahsoka and Sabine did play well off each other in that game. It was a payload game, so they weren't really doing as much sort of striking deep into the lines, because they needed to protect the cart. And they weren't able to eventually tie my card up on the final turn. But they seem to play well and synergized well. So I can't speak specifically to them, as I haven't played them myself, but Jake has, and they seem to be pretty good when I faced them. So Sean, you can probably hit him up in Discord if you want some more information about that. All right, Jace, let's get into some actual chatter here about Ewoks. We did cover this off in episode 162, so I'm just going to reshare this, repopulate the screens, as I worked hard to make them and look cool. But we're really excited about Ewoks, I think. Not so much for me to play them, but I think they're going to be cool in the game. I, of course, will pick up a bunch, because I think having a bunch of Ewok models is going to be kind of cool. I also feel like there's going to be people, Jace, I don't know about you, but I think there's people who are going to go max of max of max and just have as many Ewoks as possible.
Tons of them.
And I think anybody who's able to do it effectively I'm probably going to label in the near future as just annoying to play against, because I think that they're going to be, I think if you can get in the mindset that you're probably going to lose a lot of models, but when they reach, are probably going to do a lot of things for you. I think you are going to be a good Ewok player.
Yep.
But, Cam down here, time to be broke from having too many Ewoks. I think Cam's going to be the guy I'm labeling as annoying. So, Cam and I were supposed to, I don't know why I have 2 microphones on. I apologize. I have it on from the fight night. So, Cam and I were supposed to actually play a game on Sunday. So when I wasn't able to make the trek over to Manitoba, I was rescheduling an in-person game. But Cam had sick little children, and I know all about that. So we'll have to reschedule Cam. Again, welcome anytime to come play here. I think Cam has suggested maybe some rookie-on-rookie action for a Friday night fight, and that'd be great. Jason, I could co-cast that for sure, and that would be a fun one. I think people would like that as well. So then just again, we just showed a little bit about Logray and Wicket here in this sort of alt art card. But we weren't long before. No problem. I hope your kid gets well real soon. We were able to, Jace, actually get the Wicket card, the official Legion card here. So Let's break them down a little bit more because we're going to go into an upgrade as well as the command card. So if you guys weren't familiar, and then Jace, if you want to pull up, if you want to find that primitive keyword, so we can break that down for everyone, I'll let you take over from there. But Wicket is 70 points. He has 3 training slots, which is amazing. He's independent dodge 1. He's low profile and nimble. So independent dodge with nimble and low profile. He seems like he's going to be a little hard.
4 hits gone every turn.
Yeah, it feels like he's going to be a bit.
Staple out maneuver to this guy.
Absolutely, absolutely. He has relentless, which is awesome. He's also scout 1, scouting party 2, which is super cool. Sharpshooter 2, hello, and unhindered. Yeah. So he's fast. He's nimble, pun intended. And he could be fairly hard hitting in melee with 2 red and a black with Pierce 1 on the spear. He is only 5 health with white saves, but fear not, he does have surge defense and also surge crit, just to throw that in there. And he does have a ranged weapon at 1 to 2, 1 black, Pierce 1, so he's Pierce in melee and with his sling. And he has primitive, Jace. What is primitive all about?
Yeah, primitive is a nice, fun new keyword that is going to take any crits you roll and turn one of them back to a hit. And since he only rolls 1 die, you can never get a crit.
Right. So, what about surge crit, Jace? So how does that couple with primitive?
That is the one thing I'm not so sure on. I think you surge and then you convert to primitive. Because
okay.
I believe the convert surges is before the modify attack dice stat.
Roger that.
Be where primitive kicks in. But
okay.
Again, we'll need a full core rulebook entry for primitive.
Right.
Before we know for certain.
It's only if they have armor is what Justice is saying.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, you can't hurt armor. You can still get crits through cover, through dodge tokens, but since he already has sharpshooter too, but
I think it makes sense. Maybe a wooden spear with a stone tip isn't necessarily going to hurt like, ATST armor. But other things it probably will. So I think if primitive is the worst part of Wicket, I still think he comes out and is pretty wicked. Again, easy. Pun intended. I have my dad card over here, so I can use all the dad jokes. Certified. I've been vetted. But I do really think that he's cool. He's a plethora of keywords on here. So if you're playing him for the first time, expect to forget at least 2. You will be referencing this card a lot. The triple training slot is quite cool. I think that's awesome. And at 70 points, I think you can afford him and still feel like he's a steal of a bargain. So expect people to be running Wicket a lot. And I think he's a cheap commander who has the keywords of a commander who's far more pricey than 70 points base. So I do like that a lot. In sticking with the conversation here about Wicket, why don't we get into this training card that came in here, Forest Dwellers, troops only, so Ewok troop only. This unit gains Scout 1 at the start of the activation phase. This unit gains a dodge token. All right, Jace, tell me why this is really cool when you put this on Wicket.
Yeah, so going on Wicket's great because, well, first of all, you can't take Recon Intel because he doesn't have the slot. Well, you just gained a new way to get Recon Intel. So now you're just like Rex, Scout 2 with Scouting Parting 2, moving all your Ewoks up. But the dodge token's the nice big part of this, especially with his nimble and his independent. Never give him orders and just give him 2 dodge tokens at the start of every turn. Let's
not forget the card's 3 points.
Yeah, 3 points. It's 1 point more than Recon Intel for a free dodge every turn.
This is amazingly priced. I think Forest Dwellers gets stapled to Wicket. If he costs 75 points, you had this, you'd still be fine with it, but you get a 2-point discount. It's not even 75, it's 73. Amazing. Great card art here as well, with the Scout Trooper unable to follow him as he goes through this dense bush here. So I really like that. Shout out to the terrain looking much like the terrain they used to photograph, also located to the right. So you can definitely see the card art matches up quite well with that physical art. So very, very cool. I do like this command card. It is unfortunately, I guess in this case, only usable for the Ewok troops. That makes sense, but because I think this on other troopers would
Just
be
a little too good.
it probably be a little too good. In fact, it might be a little too good on Wicket, but he's not released, so we can't say a little too good with any factual basis, but we'll speculate that it's probably pretty good. So we do like that. All right, Jace, the command cards. I'm going to get into these, and I'll give you first reaction on all of them. So we'll go left to right here. We'll start with the one
Perfect.
pip. Close call goes to Wicket only. At the start of the activation phase, Wicket gains 1 dodge token. This round, Wicket increases his maximum speed to 3 and gains outmaneuver. Wicket may not make attacks this round.
Yeah, that is an interesting card. So you gain a dodge token. So basically, you're still at your 2 dodge tokens, even though you have to give him a order. Outmaneuver is great, although I still think even with that one card, you take situational awareness on him all the time. So that part, to me, the way I would run Wicket is kind of just lost a little bit. But
Right.
the speed 3 just lets you threaten a back objective, or if he's about to get shot at and die, get out of the way and preserve victory points. It's movement at many points in this game can be very critical, and anything that lets you move faster, especially with unhindered, is amazing.
Yeah, can we just go back to here for a second with Forest Dwellers, and you have Scout 2. So now you're having a Scout 2, then you can potentially just go the next round. You are unhindered at speed 3. Talks about middle box grab, rushing, getting out to get, to threaten other people's objectives if you wanted to. Maybe a VAP that's a little too far forward if you want to get early pressure on that. Maybe get a tap and run back or something. Not to mention having, a late game play if you needed to rush in and do a breakthrough or come from a far distance for a KP. There's just a ton of things where speed 3 is going to come into play and be amazing. And coupled with unhindered, it's really, really nice. And the fact that we have a lot of terrain on the table, that unhindered is really vital. I think environmental gear is kind of underrated right now. And so this guy's got it on his card. He's got, as Jace pointed out, the outmaneuver. Maybe you always have that. Maybe you're going to have situational awareness, so you won't need that. But not to mention as well, Jace, is just grab another dodge while you're at it, right? So,
Yeah.
So you're replacing the independent one that with just, you're getting it back here. So there's no detriment to actually getting Wicket and order off this card as well. So, yeah, really, really good. Good 1 pip. I think there's early play and late game play. Not to suggest that you can't play this in the mid game, but I think there's a lot of value in this card being a card you could pull out of your hand at any moment, and so your opponent's going to need to play around that. Because if you got Wicket, you got this card. I don't think you're leaving it at home. So
Yeah, you got to take it.
for sure. And you guys don't forget, jump into the call center at the end. And we're going to have opportunity for you to share all this stuff. Great time to share your stuff, because if you share, you get entered to win those ARC Troopers. And we'll give them away tonight, so it's not like you're going to have to tune back in. So stay tuned with us. Okay, Sneaky Scouting. This is the 2 pip here. Also only going to Wicket. Choose up to 2 enemy units at range 2 of Wicket. They each gain 2 observation tokens. When a friendly unit declares an attack against a unit that has an observe token this round, they may spend the observation token on their enemy to gain Surge to hit for the attack.
So we haven't really seen any of the. Oh, we've seen one of the Ewok profiles.
Yeah, it's just a melee though, right? So we haven't seen the ranged one, but
We haven't
maybe
seen
this
the ranged
alludes
one.
to there's some range.
Yep. So there's probably a ranged one because the observe tokens only work against 4 ranged attacks.
Yep.
And we can also then now assume that they don't surge to hit because you'll likely want to use it for this card. But for a card effect, that is an amazing card effect. I really like all the new observe mechanics that they are putting into the game with Cody and with Wicket. There's lots of cool ways to use existing tokens that were never really used nearly as much before.
Right. Are observe tokens only usable for ranged attacks?
I thought so. Maybe you can use them in there.
Let's maybe have a look at that. I thought maybe they don't specify range attacks. I could be wrong on that, but I do like the fact that you're able to use the observe token as well as, so they may spend the observe token on the enemy to just basically not auto convert. I guess you are upping your chances. So you have the option to do one or the other. So you don't have to use them to do this. You basically can just gain surge. However, it's surge for the pool. And so if you're throwing multiple dice, you could really be potentially upping your odds. You're raising the ceiling potential here for sure. And I don't think, because you're always just chancing it with the reroll on a single die anyway, I think you spend it for the chances to have it on your pool as opposed to situationally rerolling one die. So yeah. Don't mind this. I don't think this 2-pip is like overly powerful. However, I think coupled with the fact that you can put this on a couple units, and so if you're poised to sort of attack multiple units or with multiple units, you have the potential to change up to four pools of dice. So I do like the sort
that
of
is scary.
The gang up effect of this. So yeah, it's just attack, not specific to range attacks. Okay, Sean, thank you. Memory was kind of serving that you could, but so I guess either profile, assuming they have a range profile, will have the benefits of this. So in melee, that again seems pretty good. So the 3-pip, courageous counterattack, which is cool. This is Wicket and 2 units. This round, your Ewok troopers units, your Ewok trooper units with face-up order tokens, so obviously this will be up to 3, change their courage value to nil, no courage value. When Ewok trooper units have the face-up order token, when they form an attack pool this round, add 1 white die to their attack pool for every wound token or defeated miniature in that unit. So that seems good, especially if they're kind of, I guess as the card would suggest, kind of on their last stand, right? So you could have a unit that's really down to a single model. It's not going to panic no matter how many suppression value it has, because it has a nil value. And then you're still going to add a die per model that's gone. Now, mind you, the white might be a downgrade from what they have. However, it's significantly more. It's significantly more than you would have with a single model. Exactly as Jay said, it is still dice. So this is definitely a situational play for sure. You probably aren't playing this on a unit that's at full health unless the null courage value was the added value there. So you kind of have two sort of benefits from this card. Potentially a unit gets both benefits, or you could play this situationally for one benefit over the other. So Canadian Bear, poor Grievous 3-pip, he says. So well, I mean, I feel like there is certain cards that are going to come out that are just going to make other cards feel bad, and I think that's kind of a progression of the game. But I do kind of like that these cards, to me, and we've seen this, and not with every unit, and this is maybe my opinion, not Jace's, but I felt like a lot of the most recent releases have had really, really powerful cards, like sort of game-changing cards. I think that these are, I'd say, level-headed cards in the fact that there's opportunity for value here, but they don't just scream like game changer, game changer, game changer when you play them. The close call, the 1-pip, could be, again, situationally, but it's a 1-pip, and you kind of expect big things from a 1-pip. I think the other ones are very balanced. There's, like I said, there's opportunity cost to playing these. You may get really almost no value out of them. Maybe things don't pan out for you. Don't roll surges, or the added dice just don't measure up for you. But I don't think either one of these or any one of these cards to me is like too strong. I think Wicked is strong, but I think that he needs to. If you're gonna have him in there and he's your leader and you're playing an Ewok force, then you're probably gonna need him to stick around to gain value out of your entire army. So I'm okay with the balance there. So yeah. Justice saying that a single melee Ewok with tenacity can throw 1 red, 1 black, and 7 whites in melee. Fair enough. Now, we know from Z6 days, sometimes 6 or 7 white dice just means nothing. I've definitely seen that. And sometimes it's awesome. So for sure, I Yeah, that's awesome that they can do that. But that remains to be seen whether that's going to pay off. More times than not, it's probably not. But it is cool that these units will be able to throw a boatload of dice, and you should have a boatload of them. So I think Ewoks got some play. I think people who play, I think I said this before, people who are going to play Ewoks and are going to want to play Ewoks are just going to enjoy playing Ewoks. I think you know what you're getting into with this unit. And you probably won't be found too disappointed when they start dying in droves. We've all seen the movies, but they have potential to do cool things as well. So I think there's play here. So Dustin's saying that while that 3-pip is super cool, how everyone doing tonight? We are doing well. We're doing well. Better that you're here. That's great. Welcome. All right, Jace. Before we get into you and I are going to talk a little bit about Cody. Probably we'll leave some time for roundtable tonight, which is going to be good. So won't be too late on the episode. So we got one more card to get into. Then Jason and I are going to break down Cody a little bit more based on how we've been playing. And then we're going to leave Roundtable for you guys. Call Center. I got to change the name. It is Call Center. I just have Roundtable stuck in my head. So, all right, Jason, last but not least, we got a team-up card here, a 2-pip. This is actually going to be Wicket and Leia, and this is a Leia card, just to specify that, indicated by the icon in the corner as well as the words Leia Organa written on there. It's a beautiful friendship. So, and not referring to the one that Jason and I have or the ones we have with you guys, but this is also a beautiful friendship here. Wicket and Leia Organa. It's permanent, and Wicket gains Teamwork Leia Organa. That feels really good. Just off the hop there. But when an Ewok commander issues orders, you may choose a friendly rebel unit at range 1 and issue it in order. When a rebel commander issues an order, you may choose a friendly Ewok unit at range 1 and issue it an order. Very cool, Jace. It's like a souped up coordinate. Or direct, I guess. A little less of the range of direct, but I guess coordinate would be more appropriate for that. But and then not to mention just like Wicket with teamwork. So if Wicket happens to not get an order and ends up gaining his independent dodge, by my math that means Leia's going to get a dodge.
Yep.
And then that
or more
extra.
So the fact that.
Go ahead.
Also, the fact that Leia could just dodge herself and take cover herself and give Wicket 2 more dodges.
Yep. And let's go back to, what was it, Tree Dwellers, or what was that card called? Let me go back up here to the top here. Forest Dwellers.
Forest Dwellers, yeah.
Yep, at the start of the activation, just gain that dodge. All right, Leia, here you go. So Wicket and Leia should have some dodge tokens. And that feels good. So I do like that Leia gets a little bit of love coming back into this force. It's both thematic and I think actually playable. Not to mention that Leia's Bombard is still good. I just think that a lot of people have not been familiar with it or haven't seen it. And if you're new to the game, you probably haven't faced a lot of Leia, but it's still good. Real good. And I think Leia's got some cool play here, and I do like that there's a little bit of a teamwork. And they seem to like teamwork, and teamwork seems to be popping up more and more in this game. So I would expect that trend may continue. Again, can't confirm or deny that, but I think that it's been popping up enough that gives me the thought that it's a keyword that AMG really likes to use. So, yep. I think this 2-pip is, again, quite good, and it's probably going to make 2 characters quite strong. I do like the little bit of synergistic elements that it has with, having both Rebels and Ewoks sort of gain an extra order off this, which is pretty cool. And because the effect is permanent, I can see this card coming out fairly early to get a little bit more control in the cards, because remember, Wicket's cards are a lot of just Wicket. And so you kind of will be able to have a little bit of control over other units as well. So Cam says hit the like button for the old Wicket. I would definitely recommend hitting the like button. We'll take it, and I agree with you. He's pretty good. So looking forward to that. We will have some Ewoks on Friday Night Fights, regardless if any of us are playing it as our primary force, because I think we're all going to be a little interested to see what they can do, and I think you guys will as well. And Jace just shouting out here, we do have a large tree. Now, while it's not an Endor
We do.
tree, we do have that Kashyyyk table,
Still a
which I
tree.
think would be pretty cool to play some Ewoks on. So Sean says, I think that it makes Leia's position a bit awkward as to benefit from teamwork. They need to be within range 1 to 2 of each other. Potentially. I think that if you were going to do that early game rush, maybe they might be kind of out of position. But again, that card might come in late. This may also force Leia to be a little bit more upfront. And while she's not necessarily that great at up there, her gun's not bad. And if she's moving with the
Gun
Force,
is
this
great.
just might this might actually just force Leia to play a little bit differently. So I think you're correct. Traditional, how we expect Leia to play and how she plays now in Rebels, I think this makes it awkward. How she plays with Ewok, sorry, remains to be seen, but likely will cause her to have to play a little bit differently. So I think you are correct that it might make it a bit awkward, but I think maybe once figured out, it may be a little bit less awkward. So, like I said, I think people who play Ewoks and figure them out are going to really enjoy playing them. So, okay. Well, speaking of enjoying and playing, I've had some renewed interest in Legion, and I never lost interest, but renewed interest in playing clones, as I have not played clones for some time, like a couple years since they basically came out, and so I have recently been playing Cody. And Jace has
Yep.
also played Cody a few times on Friday Night Fights. I played him once, and I've played him a few times in some TTS games as well, just some pickup games. And I've been enjoying Cody. In fact, I was going to bring Cody to play against Cam on the weekend, but I did not get that game in. But I have my bag all packed, and so maybe I'll put him on the table here in the not too distant future. So, but what we have for you is we're going to break down play Yoda. I don't know. I'm not really into Force users. I mean, I could mess around with Yoda, but I don't know if I'm gonna. I mean, Yoda's awesome. I feel like I leave him on one wound way too much, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, it's probably not my thing. But I'm not ruling out ever playing him. I have to learn. I have to learn how to all clones work. Like token sharing is just as a whole foreign mechanic. I never get that with droids. So. And that doesn't help that I'm playing droids in one league, practicing with clones and playing Empire in another. So I'm all over the place with trying to get synergies in my head. But Jace and I have been playing Cody, as mentioned. And what we're going to do is we're going to bring back this segment here where we kind of break down units, sort of do unit spotlights. And so we'll start with Jace's Cody. And we are playing similar in terms of, well, basically one upgrade we share. Similar in points, but entirely different uses and approaches for him. And so I thought, Jace, if you went first and kind of talked about the upgrades that you brought on Cody and how you have been using him for your army styles.
Yeah, definitely. So when I play Cody, I like to run him with aggressive tactics because I usually run him with a clone commander just to get those, because my list is all about fire supporting. So he's the one always issuing the orders until he dies. So aggressive tactics is great. And then I run him with targeting scopes because he always has that aim from getting an order himself. So that extra reroll is nice. And Hunter, just to give him another aim. I like to play my Cody at that range 3 to 4 band. 4 for as long as I can, and then 3 only when I need to get the observe tokens off, which I usually only do for the cards or if something else has come super close and towards me and away from the rest of their army. But I like to use my Cody to just buff up the rest of my units offensively, give them the surges, direct to the ATRTs. And the way that my list basically works is everything wants to fire support into either Cody, the clone commander, or the RTs to get either sharpshooter or surge ability on either surge hit from the RTs or surge crit from Cody himself. But I like to use Cody for offense. I like his gun. I think impact 1 and lethal 1 with the aim and with the 2 red dice is amazing. Surging to crit, especially if you get a fire support in on him. That's also great with the targeting scopes. Being able to reroll a whole bunch of extra dice off a Z6 unit as well. But yeah, I like to use him very offensively.
All right, we'll jump over quickly to my version here. 4 points cheaper than Jace, also running aggressive tactics for many of the same reasons that Jace mentioned. The ability to get, and I've been running Cody with a Saber, just to be clear. And then I've been running 5s and then Boyle and then 2 Z6s and an RPS in another squad. So, and I have been really using Cody as a token battery. Because I'm running the veteran clone pilot on the tank, Cody's target one is really quite nice. Getting the direct onto the tank with link targeting array means I generally can quickly grab two aim tokens in any attack. And so I'm sort of stripping down the offensive output for Cody. The aggressive tactics triggering, but I'm running portable scanners on him for the take cover too. So again, being able to couple Cody defensively with the tank as well, if I'm able to take, if I'm taking shots, because the outmaneuver on the tank, having a dodge token and then the ability to grab a dodge token off Cody if needed is quite good. So being able to kind of dodge 2 crits coming in on that tank to keep it alive. I'm not running R2 at present, and so I don't have the heals in the unit, but basically being able to shed 2 potentially coming in I feel is actually more cost effective than running R2 minus secret mission, of course. But from the defensive standpoint, I think it's a little bit better. Jason mentioned that you can couple Cody for the offensive output with the fire support. And what I'm actually doing is I'm feeling like I'm having 3 big armor batteries in the fact that I can fire the tank itself just on its own with shells. I'm also running the range 3 gun as well for the crit 1, so I'm not always having to proc shells. If I'm not shooting into armor, the extra 3 black dice, while slightly less effective than the shells, adding the crit 1 into the overall dice pool I actually find is more effective. So that is one offensive tool that I have. Cody then fire supported by either 5's unit and or a Z6 unit, as Jace mentioned, depending on what sort of opportunities you have, is also really good. I mean, Cody's 4 dice backed up by another 8 black with surge crit is really, really good. You don't have a lot of impact in that pool, so depending on what you're kind of looking for, but you do basically have the potential to spike a couple crits, coupled with the fact that you have that surge potential as well. And then thirdly in my list, I have the RPS 6 unit, so another lower impact unit if it's not being fire supported into the tank. But if you fire support that with a Z6, you again have the ability to proc big dice pools. You do have impact natively within that. And then effectively the opportunity to roll some impact dice in there with your natty crits that you can roll. So what I have really found though is that Cody can sort of hang out and live behind the tank. I can almost guarantee that I'm going to get all my Cody cards off. Cody's not an easy bounty target in the fact that I can keep him really safe hanging out behind the tank. He doesn't need to be seeing a lot of things to do all the things that I'm doing. In Jace's variant, obviously Cody will need to expose himself, mind you, at range 4, so he's fairly safe. But he doesn't have to poke his head out if he doesn't want to. I'm also able to get him into early position. I'm actually running air support within my Cody list, and so getting that shot off is quite good. I can do it from a safe distance, and really do find that he's been effective. I haven't lost Cody in any games. In fact, I don't think in my last couple he's even taken a single wound. Which is great. OS Dad and I had a couple good games. He just got me the other night when I was unable to kill Anakin for all the shots. Ended up losing 2-1 on 2-2 KP, but he got secret mission off because I couldn't get R2 in battle lines in his lat that he just parks in the corner and claims that. But really, this again, sorry, I have my other microphone on. This list has been so defensive. Him and I played a game previous. And I never lost a single model in the game. Offensively, we really were both lists just defensive teched out, and played a great game. It was cagey. We were doing all the things, but he just couldn't remove models on my side. And that Boyle squad, Jace, I'm not sure if what you've been finding with Boyle, but Boyle just hanging out in a unit to just guardian, hits onto the pool with having the aggressive tactics surge just available is just fantastic. And I really think that that unit is so cost effective with adding Boyle in it. I think he's 15 points.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah,
Super
and
cheap.
just gives you some really some bonus keywords in there, but just having that sort of 5 wound battery that you can situationally pull off surrounding units is really, really good. So another great way to keeping both characters or 5s unit, or if you get kind of down to that 1 or 2 bodies left and you're trying to preserve a heavy, again, a really nice thing. And then procking off Cody's forget what the card's called, but have I ever let you down or something like that?
Yep. Have I ever let you down?
Is that the card? Yeah. Is really nice. Just, oh, cool. Let me proc a Guardian save over here. And, oh, I've taken a wound and now let me just proc a shot. So is really a clever way, except if your Guardian kicks in and you just go like 100% on the rules. But
Yep.
that is, yeah, for sure. Canadian Bear says, do you like the P1 version of Boyle or the P2 with Protector more? I have not run any phase 2s with Boyle, so I'll just reserve the right to say, in my opinion, the phase 1 works better, only because I have not run the phase 2. In fact, I haven't played phase 2s at all. And again, I'm not a clone player, so don't hear that phase 2s aren't good or that they're the phase 1s are better. It's just my experience is coming solely from playing it. Now I have got about 8 games in now with them, but I have not run any phase 2s at all. So I have just found that I've like to live at that 8 activation list, and just kind of how there's not a lot of wiggle room in this. You can push it to 9, but I really feel like I'm missing out a lot of the core elements within the list. I don't want to strip down all the units that I have. So Jace, were you running any engineers or medics in any of the squads? I can't remember if you had any in there.
I didn't. I had all heavy weapons in all of mine. I had a rocket, I had 5s, I had 2 Z6s, and 2 DC-15s just for more long-range critical.
Yep. Yeah, Jace has definitely been playing. And now with the RTs and the DCs, you definitely have a bit of range that's spread out. I find the Saber is really been effective, super effective. Yeah. So it's done a lot of work for me, and I can't complain about that tank. So just feels really consistent in most dice pools. And again, with that extra gun on there, it's kind of cool because you can play that range 3 game and just throw like 9 dice at really any shot. You can back to back that with the armor shells. You can just let them cycle. I have wanted to experiment a little bit with the high energy shells and just kind of play it as a little bit more of a range 4 poke. But I think maybe Jace's variant with offensive Cody and some DC-15s would make that a little bit. I think you'd have, again, spread out ranged pokes. So if you kind of have it just sort of coupled in 1 unit, maybe 2, I think your opponent can play around that a bit more. But if you have sustained firepower from range 4 sprinkled amongst several units, I think you really are onto something there. So so definitely playing more of a range 3 variant. I am, and then Jace has definitely a bit more of the range and speed with the RTs as well. So all right, well that's our sort of shares about Cody. Lessons from the front, if you will, in terms of the times we're running him. But it seems like an interesting character. I still see a lot of people saying like they're not really a fan of Cody or can't make him work or unclear about him. I don't have a lot of reference to tell you all the other clone commanders. I'm not running any Jedi in here, but he's done everything that I think I wanted him to do in the games I've played. I feel like I've got value out of him, but I haven't tried to, I don't think, overextend him or expect too much out of him. And I think I've been, I'm not found wanting as a result of that. So, okay. Well, where are we at, Jace? Hour 18. Look at us go. Why don't we do this? Why don't we hit the call center? And I have extra names up here who aren't in tonight. So I will just forget that I put those up there. But we will drop some other, those are our folks that joined us last time we went. Why don't we open up the call lines again? If you want to get in on a box of ARC Troopers, and if you don't want to, you don't have to call. But if you'd like to get in, we got some topics for you tonight. We'll cycle you through so that we can get as many entries. So we'll ask people to come in, share their bit, and then we'll bid you adieu, and then we'll cycle as many people through as possible. Yeah, I do have a spot for you, Jake. Jake could actually just jump and occupy a spot for a brief time
Yeah.
as we cycle people through. But our topics tonight are, what are you testing? So what are you running right now? What are you play testing for the first time? And I mean play testing on the table. Commander Cody, if you have any experience with or against it you want to share, you can do that. Ewoks, talking specifically about Wicket, because we don't really have much more to talk about. But if you want to talk about Ewoks in general, your thoughts and expressions about how interested you are, that's also fine. And then if you got any league report games, feel free to jump on here and tell us about one or so of those games that you have played. Again, like I said, one lucky giveaway or one lucky person will get the giveaway tonight of some ARC Troopers. We'll open up the lines right now. Look for the chat, and there it is. All right, Jace, you'll have to keep track, and we'll do a random number generator based on the number of calls that we have. We'll do about, I'll say about 15 minutes or so of calls, 15, 20 minutes, and then we'll end off the show with the giveaway. All right, now we wait in silence as we await the first caller for the show, and we have one right here. Oh, 2 callers! Look at this. All right, we got people fired up here. All right, 1 second, gentlemen. Let me drop you into the screens, and then we'll take some callers after that. So just hold on the phone lines there as we get you guys assigned, and we'll deal with Sean first because he called in first. We're gonna put Sean right there. There we go. He's gonna go right over top of that. Sean, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Amazing. Yes, we can. We're going to drop Mr. Whitty. We'll drop him into the spot that says Jake Whitty because I think that's fitting. All right. All right, Sean, you are up first. You got the big board. What would you like to talk about?
See, I've been playing around trying to do a mall pike list Shadow Collective. And I'm just curious because that was obviously real popular before they hit pikes with the nerf. But I've been running Gar Bosk pikes, and that's worked pretty well. But I'm trying to get Maul back into my play rotation, so I'm just trying to get some thoughts as to what's a good Maul pike list. That's a good way to kind of get my toes back into the Force User arena with Shadow Collective.
Do you have any interest in running a bus?
I'm fine with running buses. I know that they tend to be better with Black Sun, but I could see them still being good, body blockers or line of sight blockers for pikes. But pikes tend to want to sit back and shoot, so it can kind of cut both ways in that regard.
I'm thinking about a delivery device for Maul real quick, safe way to get there, and then maybe a med bot just sitting on the bus and just healing while it sits there and does damage.
So it would just be a bus medic. You pretty bare bones in that way.
Yep. Because I think the nice thing about that bus is while that bus is sitting there and Maul is in doing Maul things, you have a great line of sight blocker to advance either pikes up to get into shot potential range, or potentially like block out some middle objectives, body block. Access routes to other objectives. I think you can really threaten a lot of things up front, like maybe an exposed VAP or a quick box grab. You can do a lot of things, I think, with the speed of not having to use the infiltrate on Maul and still having a way of getting up there.
Yeah, I could see that. And use the 2-pip just for defensive purposes to get the box and run.
Mm-hmm. I think there's still value. Like you got the points. I don't know what you have to play in there, but a quad gun sitting on a bus that's just up front pumping out 6 black dice also feels pretty good. It's got some native impact on there as well, but it's not fixed front, so you're able to kind of shoot things all around.
Yeah, I've been my current list is 2 capos, 6 squads, and I find that when you're running pikes, the pike squads are really what are going to be the firepower for you. So I would assume you would recommend dropping the capos to try to squeeze in the bus in that regard.
Yeah, the bus is fairly cheap. What are they running, like 135 points or something like that?
Well, naked 75.
Yeah, 75 base plus the medic would be 87, quad guns 28 points. So that'd be, yeah, it'd be like
115.
115.
115. All right, so
Yeah.
not even 130. So 115. If you want it, and if you didn't want to run the quad gun, you just wanted to use it as a delivery device, I think you can get away pretty cheap with that. I mean, are you running Dark Saber on Maul?
Yes.
Okay, so you don't really. I mean, he is your commander, right?
Yeah.
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 No, the capos are mostly just to pass tokens and to
Token
be,
batteries. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an option. I mean, it depends on whether you like how aggressive you want to be with Maul. I think if you want him to be super aggressive and you want to get him there and be disruptive. I mean, you did say you have a wall of pikes, and so you still have basically objective holders and grabbers, and a force you can push to the middle for sure. Bus just might be that mobile cover that you're looking for if there is scenarios where you do have to move. And again, it just makes Maul super threatening from wherever you want to be. And he doesn't even need to be in the bus to benefit from the heal. He can just be he could
Right.
be walking beside it if you really want him
Range
to.
one or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And then would you be running more of the because that's what I find weird when doing a mall pike list is do you run the deployment zones that are kind of in your opponent's grill sort of deployment zones, or do you run more of the standoff ones that are more pike centric?
Well, if I'm playing Maul, like against Maul, because I don't play Maul, but if I'm playing against Maul, I would rather him be as standoffish as possible. Personally, I would rather not him have the ability to get into my face. So to answer your question, if you want to be aggressive with him, I think you do take the ones where you're gonna kind of mix it up.
That makes sense. Yeah, because pikes aren't terrible up close. So yeah, I could see doing that.
I think in force, like pikes are exceptionally hard. Like you might lose a pike squad or two based on concentrated fire, but the thing is, before you do that, what is 6 pikes taken out? Like those shots are
Right.
nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that a shot. That sounds. I'll try to bump all the squads up to capos so they don't run away, and then drop the actual capos for a bus and see what I can squeeze in there.
See what you can squeeze in. All right, give it a rip, and then let us come back and just tell me how wrong I am.
Sure, sounds good.
Awesome, buddy. All right, we'll stick around. Hang out and chat there because we'll as soon as we end off, we'll do the draw. So good luck in winning some ARC troopers.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, cheers. All right, Jake, what do you got for us?
Oh man, so I am currently testing FD cannons.
Okay, how many?
2 with my Cassian Ahsoka list.
Okay.
Great versus darks. Not so great against everything else.
Gotcha.
Is kind of how I'm feeling with them.
I think they're pretty good against droids. I had to if you have line of sight, but I had to run in against some FD cannons, and if you didn't have a building, which I did not, I had literally not even a piece of heavy cover. They were decent at ripping me apart. So that little bit of impact that you can punch in there is nice, getting over B2s and killing spiders also quite good. So
Yeah,
I think
it's
against
just-
vehicles they could be effective.
Yeah, it's the game actually I was just running against had a Gav tank, and I just couldn't get really any good impact put in. I had impact 4 on some of the shots, and I was only getting 2-ish hits in.
Were you running? Was the vehicle getting cover?
Yeah, I got cover.
Yeah, I think
That was the
I think that's
problem.
always going to be a trick with actual native impact. The smaller numbers, if it's set up right, I think that vehicle just sits in that heavy cover and just really takes away that plink damage for
Yep.
sure. I don't think you're bringing FD cannons as like an anti-armor source, so not doing great against that I think is probably where we're going to end up most times, but I don't really think you're bringing FD cannons for that. Are you bringing the impact generator or the suppression one?
Impact, yeah.
Yeah,
Impact,
I kind of
barrage.
always really like the overcharge generator myself for the suppressive shot, because I think the ability to put that that's the overcharge, right? The overcharge is the suppression one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the ability to put that suppression out at range really sort of truncates an army's advance.
Oh yeah.
So even if they are bringing up something sort of fast and in your face, if you're able to kind of slow down the rest, I think there's value there.
Yeah. With darks though, them not getting cover, impact 3 is wonderful.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean that.
Which
Any impact into darks, I think, is you're almost like leveling up a little bit because of the no cover rule, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping for once the nerf happens, I might switch it back over to the suppression one, because I do agree that extra suppression, maybe they can't move up, just good luck kind of a thing.
Yeah, and the fact that you can kind of like double tap, 2 at range 5 when you're probably outside of the range band, any mitigation of actions, if you're taking away the ability to move, shoot, even if they couldn't get in your range band, it's really nice,
yeah.
right? What are you gonna do? Move up and then sit there at the range band? Let me potentially shoot you again.
Yep.
And then if I out activate you, go ahead again, and now I'm mitigating your firepower and maybe still dumping on extra suppression. So. I think they're very scary, and that's the reason I like the suppressive generator better. I get your play if you're kind of hedging against some anti-armor, anti-dark troopers for sure, and maybe a combination thereof of the different generators. But that suppressive generator is, I feel, has more value more often than the impact generator myself. But yeah. And what are you coupling with the rest of the list, Jake?
So it's Rebel Officer, Ahsoka, Cassian, K2, 2 vets with the heavy weapon, and 2 MKs.
Okay, so you're really hedging that long range with Cassian in there as
yeah.
well. Are you fire supporting into FD cannons with Mark IIs?
There really isn't much of a chance to do that with the command cards.
Gotcha. That's fair. That is fair.
I mean, I think I have done it, and it's beautiful when it happens.
Yes. What's that, like 9? Well, I guess you'd have the extra black. So was that a 10 black crit 2?
Yeah, depending on when it is.
Right.
It's 9 or 10 black crit 2.
But I mean, the Mark II into the veterans, you have the CMO 93s on there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that dice pool is nasty in and of itself. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of range 4 plus.
Is that crit 4 that dice pool?
If you surge it with when you fire
couple with the Mark II. Yeah. Wow. Crit 4.
Yeah, they're both crit 2.
Okay, that is pretty good.
Yeah.
And so, how many games in with the FD cannons are you now?
I just played my 4th one. I'm 3-1.
Oh, nice, very nice. Yeah. So, do you find that people are not familiar with playing against FD cannons right now?
I have a couple of the games. They're semi-newer.
Okay.
They haven't, but they knew exactly what the FD cannons did.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think the FD cannons have had this weird evolution in Legion where it's like they were really people. I didn't identify them properly at the start that they were good. Then they were like really effective. Then some people did some really awesome things with them. Then they came back around, and then people were like, yeah, they kind of dropped off again. And now I feel like people are starting to bring them back out, and I think maybe Dark Troopers helped a lot with that, especially going into Worlds, But I think.
Oh no, go ahead, finish.
No, I was just going to say, but then I think that table evolution is also another thing that really can hurt that unit. So depending on what kind of tables are in your like local scene or meta, or you're going to an event, you really have to hedge. I feel like Worlds, from what I heard about from people who had FD cannons, I feel like people were playing on thinner tables when they were practicing and using their FD cannons versus what they ran into at Worlds, and I think the tables might have hurt them a little bit. and from basically anecdotally what I heard when I talked to people.
And looking at my local scene with the tables, they're great for FDs.
Right.
So
Okay, Jake. Well,
no.
we're gonna welcome in Canadian Bear. Kick out Jake. Jake's gonna go play his 6th game now with FD Cannons, 5th game with FD Cannons, and
It'd be
we'll.
fourth.
Okay, fourth game, whatever. I'm just counting. I'm building you up.
I'm waiting on Jace.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, good luck, and we'll maybe see some ARC troopers coming your way.
Yeah.
All right. Cheers. All right, Graham, welcome. There's the drop again if anybody wants to jump in. So far, we got Sean, we got Jake, we got Canadian Bear now entered.
Well, you don't need to add me to the list. I've got 4 already.
This guy coming in
I
here,
don't need a
Mr.
5th.
Oh, are we flexing ARC troopers? All right, Jace, you can verify. I believe I still have 8 sitting on the shelf. Just saying. I once owned 16 of them. If we're flexing real hard here, Mr. Canadian Bear. If that is your real name. Go ahead, Graham. What do you got for us?
I was gonna say that's 8 shrink wrapped ones, right? Not including the open one.
Sure, that's not including my personal collection. I wasn't going to come flexing hard until Graham came in here strutting his stuff. So, all right.
I guess really the only testing I'm doing right now, besides I tried out Cody for this round of the league and can't. I don't know.
Can't.
Yeah, maybe he's not meshing with me, or I mean, it's probably also my list just meh. It's kind of hasn't left a good taste in my mouth yet.
So
But
what do you
I have hope.
what are you playing Cody with, or how are you building out your Cody? Are you a defensive tech Cody? Are you offensive? Are you straddling the fence?
Defensive.
Okay.
Yeah, aggressive and scanner.
Okay. So same as me. Yep.
Yep.
Or,
Yeah, no. He's been good. I think it's. I mean, like I said at the start of this round of league, I ran into every single list that has a lightsaber. Like I've got 2 Obi Yoda lists. I have a what is it? An Op Vader and then Anthony with Shadow Collective Maul.
right. So you have a lot of Force users. Yeah.
Yeah, and
nasty.
I haven't been able to keep them away from me. So.
Gotcha. Jake says he's been dreading playing Cody. That hasn't been anything that sounds good. There hasn't. You know what? I don't. I guess maybe I'm like you're a clone player, and so you play clones, and so you kind of know like what feels good, what's worked for you, and then I'm not playing clones at all, and so I'm just kind of jumping at it. I've played against a lot of clones, everything: Obi, Anakin, Yoda, ad nauseum, and I haven't ran into. Well, I did actually ran into Anakin, although he wasn't really a huge factor other than the fact that I couldn't kill him with shots. But like he didn't kill a lot. He did 4 damage in 2 games that I played against Anakin. That is it. Because I feel like the list can kind of be prickly enough to keep Force users away. But are you just finding that you're not able to do your play style with Cody that you're used to with your Force users, or?
Part of it is I was trying to come up with something to operate better with everything being at range 4, and then just trying to mitigate suppression. So I was going more so into phase 2s when I could, and just even though like Cody has his 3-pip, which can kind of give some extra mobility, I was still running into that issue. Besides that, I haven't been able to stop a Force user really from crashing into my lines.
Right. What else do
they've
you
just
have?
been.
What else do you have to kind of be prickly for a Force user to say no?
I've got the saber tank fully like decked out.
Yep.
Veteran, TLT, armor piercing, and an LTA.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like possibly 3 aims if I'm going 3 to 4 aims if I'm teaming him up with Cody.
Right. Are you standby trapping at all, or because I've found that I've just been saying no with standbys.
Yeah, I haven't tried using standbys or the placement. The target has already like kind of moved to a spot where and they're done for the turn, so standby would just be pointless at that point.
Gotcha.
Everything else is out, not going to be within range 2 for it to go off.
Okay.
Yeah, other than that, I guess I'm mostly messing around with the my Yoda Wookiee list if I want to swap one of my 2 medics for Boyle, which I guess sounds pretty good. Upgrading some Wookiee saves to a red die.
Yep, that feels good.
Off the extra one from Yoda going towards him.
Perfect. Okay, well, best of luck with whatever you end up landing on. Apparently Cody's not it. That's fine. Maybe you should try ARC Troopers, Mr. I have 4 boxes already. Maybe you should put some of those to use, Graham, instead of just coming on here and flexing hardcore.
I've got the worthwhile one.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, I appreciate the call in nonetheless, and hopefully we'll catch you on Friday Night Fight and hang out with us and come do some commentating sometime.
Absolutely.
All right, Graham. We'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Yep. All right, Justice, who called us on dial-up internet apparently tonight with his grainy picture. Hopefully we got some good quality here. Can you hear us, Justice?
I can hear you just fine. My internet sucks always. I don't usually call in. Sorry.
No worries. It's all good. I'm just teasing you. So, and I know you said you're trying to win some arcs, which is good. So I wish you the best of luck. You're going against only 3 other folks at this point. So we got 7 more minutes on the call clock. So what do you got for us tonight? What are you picking on the big board here?
Well, considering I'm painting Cody, Waxer, and Boyle, I was going to talk about them, but since everyone else kind of hit on them, I kind of want to talk Wicket since he's newer.
He's new?
And I want to talk about how he has his own command cards, but like Chewie and the Wookiee Chieftain didn't get theirs, and I really want them to get their own battle force, because, man, am I loving running Wookiees lately, especially in the League.
Okay, this just in, salty clone player. Continue, sir. Tell us about your Wookiee list. I think
I'm
it's
not that salty.
I know. I'm just kidding. Tell us about your Wookiee list. I know you got a lot of fur in it.
Yeah, I've got Chewbacca the Chieftain and 3 ranged Wookiees with the Bowcaster, and since everything has heavy cover now, that sharpshooters went way up in use, and it with the Pierce is starting to crush stuff, and my Wookiees always having heavy, it's money. I never really have to worry about them losing too many, especially because now I can use Boyle to Guardian a wound off of them for way better odds. That's pretty gross.
So that's 14 Wookiees and some uncountless number of wounds.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a lot. You're playing that in a league right now, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm actually taking that into the next round of Invader League as well. I think it's got some legs, and I'm hoping to win with it. Do better than I did this last round. Oof.
Okay. How many games in the league have you played so far?
2. I've got a couple people dodging me right now, specifically Sean Death.
Oh man, okay, listen.
Running away.
Two seasons, 11 rounds. Sean Death has dodged me. So you tell me about dodging. This guy he's the worst. Yeah, he's the worst. So not even here tonight. Usually he's here, but he'll pick the episode up probably tomorrow, and we'll see some comments from Sean Death, but we'll believe none of them. None of this. Justice can back me up. Yeah. Justice and I finally separated. We have
always running.
We finally got out of the same league pod, which is good. So most excellent. So
we'll probably be in the same one next round too. So that'd be fun.
We might be. I don't know if I'm gonna go. I might stay in the basement. I don't know. I got to get some more games in because J-Rod's right now just submarining our whole pool because we can't get any games in. So what is this freedom that we're celebrating? So Frank, that was me just sort of playing on the fact that we're at a once every 2 week cadence right now. So I was just, hearkening back to the time that I should have free, which I don't. It's just freeing up some podcast time to do some work time. So that being said, we'll be back at it in the month of July each week, and subsequently I will have all my days off to be working on some hobby terrain, which will also be fun. So I don't get to sit like these guys here, like Jace and Justice, who get to listen to other people prattle on as they paint some stuff. So when you get done, Justice, I believe I have a Cody here somewhere that you can get painting up for me. It would be fine. So I'll send it your way. So
It'll take me like 6 months, but I'll do it for you.
that's actually about 6 months faster than it will take me to paint it. So yeah.
Yep.
It's good to take breaks. I agree, Frank. So, okay, well, we've reached that 1:45 mark. That was the time slot. We only 4 people enter, which is fine. We had a good crowd, and a bunch of people stayed with us, which was even better. Too shy to call in, or maybe they just weren't interested in talking about Cody because they can't make him work either. But I feel I'm not in that camp, Jason. I don't think you are either. So,
No.
and we're not saying that he's like the top tier competitive, but I just think that if you stay within the parameters, I think Cody can contribute. So hopefully he does some work for you too, Justice. So maybe Cody with Wookiees is secret sauce nobody's trying right now. So maybe Justice will crack the code, come out with that. So Jake's too busy playing Ahsoka, so he's having fun.
I doubt it works, but I'll try it.
The mere fact that we just went through an entire episode other than Jake and we didn't bring up Dark Troopers, bonus. And I don't think one person said Blizzard Force tonight. So and if we don't say it 2 more times, it won't show up. So we have that. So Jace, why don't you do me a favor and throw in the queue. Sean is 1, Jake is 2, Graham is 3, Justice is 4, and one of those fine gentlemen we'll just have a box of ARC Troopers heading their way, courtesy of the studio.
Yeah. Okay, we've got.
And I hope it's not 3, because that's Graham, and he's flexed hard on us.
It's number 2.
It's number 2. That means it's Jake
Number
Witt.
2.
Jake Witt, number 2.
Yeah.
Jake, friend of the show, sometimes part-time caster. Actually, Justice is in the spot right now. So, Jake Witt, you are the proud owner of a set of ARC Troopers. I will send them your way. Something else for you to paint. Put down Ahsoka long enough to paint some ARC Troopers. Send us in a photo of them painted up, and you'll have done your duty. So, all right. We're going to say goodbye to Justice. Justice, have a great night. Jason and I are going to see this show out. We'll chat soon, my friend. Cheers.
Y'all have a good night.
Thank you. All right, Jace, we'll take it away. 163 in the books. Got a little giveaway. Yeah, part-time cast, sometime caller, and I'll send you my new address. Fair enough. That's right. Jake has moved, so I will not use the one that I have on file because they will end up at somebody else's house, and it won't be Jake's. So we'll get that in the books. Jace, I think we'll start our themed giveaways on Friday Night Fights. I think what we'll probably do is do a couple weeks worth of gaming, enter some people into a pool. And what you can do basically is on the Friday Night Fight, you back your faction, whatever one you want. We'll lock you in, and if that faction wins, we'll enter all of those people into a pool. And every probably 2 or 3 weeks, we'll do a giveaway themed to the winning faction. Whatever faction comes out with the most amount of winners, we'll draw somebody from that at random, and we will send you whatever it is that you won. No entry required other than tuning in for the Friday Night Fights. You don't even need to stick around for the whole time. But we do value your viewership and your commentary. So join us on Fridays. We don't have any fighters this week, but maybe we can line some people up. Jace, are you around this Friday?
I definitely should be around this Friday.
Okay, so Jace is probably one of our fighters this week, just saying that out loud. And if it's not Jace, it'll be Jace and me. And if it's not, maybe Anthony will rejoin us. I know Anthony was wrapping up his football season. Maybe he's all done, and we'll see Anthony back soon. But of course, we got some other folks. Cam, we're waiting on you. Come make an appearance anytime. Dustin, all of our other locals. We'll get some new folks out. And we do have a new individual moving here, I think in the month of July. Jace, coming out of the West Coast. Very eager to get some games in. Another new player, which is great. We love the new players because new players, when they play lots of games, become old players. And then they become really good players. And it's keen for us to stay sharp against these young whippersnappers who are coming up in the ranks of playing Legion. So gives me an excuse to dust off models I haven't used before either. So, all right, Jace, 163 in the books. We'll catch you guys on Friday. Thanks for watching. Remember, we'll be back with the Tuesday podcast, not next Tuesday, the following Tuesday, whatever date that is. So looking forward to that. Thanks, Jace, as always. We'll talk to you guys later.
Definitely.
Cheers.